Hey, what's going on guys? Frosty here bringing you another video, and in today's one I have yet another Warlock Solar 3.0 grenade build that I think you guys will all enjoy, even more so than the one I made previously a couple days ago involving the Sunbracer gauntlets. So this build is very similar to that build, however we are swapping some of the fragments as well as some of the mods on our gear, and we're also utilizing a different exotic of choice called the Starfire Protocol. So basically what this exotic chest piece does is gives us a perk called Fusion Harness. So fusion grenades have an additional charge and recharge from empowered weapon damage. Also, fusion grenade kills grant rift energy. So when it says getting empowered weapon damage regens your grenade, what this means is you need to be in either an empowering rift or a well of radiance in order to get your grenade back consistently while you're damaging a target with any weapon. Abilities do not count towards this. So basically what this means is as long as we're sitting in an empowering rift or a well of radiance and we're consistently doing damage to a target, we will consistently get our fusion grenade back over and over again. And the other really nice thing about Starfire Protocol is that as long as we get a single kill with our fusion grenade, we guarantee our rift back, so you guys can start to see the synergy there and how that would work out. So the reason fusion grenades are so good now is because we can run an aspect called Touch of Flame, and as you can see there for the fusion grenade, what it does is it allows it to detonate for a second time. So with this aspect giving our fusion grenades a second detonation, this allows them to hit like an absolute truck, making this a very good build for boss DPS. And the other really nice thing is because these grenades hit so hard, as long as you throw them at any trash head or even orange bar for that matter, they're pretty much guaranteed to kill the target, allowing you to get your rift back consistently. Moving on to how I set up my Solar 3.0 subclass with this build. Under the abilities, I'm running Empowering Rift, Burst Glide, Incinerator Snap, and Fusion Grenades here obviously. And then for the first aspect, as I showed earlier, we're using Touch of Flame, so our fusion grenades explode twice. And I'm also running Heat Rises, but you can run Icarus Dash here if you want. Moving on to the fragments now, I'm running Ember of Blistering, so we get some ignitions, grant grenade energy. Ember of Eruption, so we get some strength, and we also have increased ignition area of effect. Ember of Singeing, so we get some class ability on scorching a target. And Ember of Ashes to apply more scorch stacks to targets. So Ember of Eruption is absolutely cracked with these fusion grenades because it allows them to apply ignition in a much bigger AoE, and if you guys don't know, ignited targets take a lot of extra damage, so you want to be applying that to as many enemies as possible every single time you throw one of your fusion grenades. Moving into the weapons now, starting off in the Kinetic slot, I would highly recommend running Witherhoard with Catalyst if you have it. And the reason for that is because, like I said earlier, with Starfire Protocol, as long as you're standing in an empowering rift or a well of radiance and you're damaging an enemy with a weapon, you're getting grenade energy. So what you want to do here is you want to go ahead and apply Witherhoard to the ground if you're fighting a pack of enemies, and if you're fighting a boss, especially one that moves around a little bit, you want to go ahead and try to stick them with Witherhoard. So as soon as you get that GL shot off on a pack or a boss, you want to go ahead and slap down your empowering rift or a well of radiance, whatever you have up, and then just enjoy unlimited fusion grenades until you run out, and then just reapply Witherhoard, and then by that point, as long as you've killed a trash head with at least one of your fusion grenades, slap down another rift, rinse and repeat. For the energy weapon, I'm just using my funnel web with perpetual motion and adrenaline junkie because I'm moving around a lot, and also adrenaline junkie is getting proc non-stop with these fusion grenade kills. And then for the heavy, I'm using the Palmyra B, which is the stasis rocket launcher. I just crafted mine up with auto loading holster and explosive light. I want to use a rocket instead of a sword obviously, because we're throwing fusion grenades, we don't want to be running up to the enemies we just stuck with them, so I think a good ranged DPS option here in the heavy slot is the way to go. Moving over to the armor and the mods we're using, on the helmet I'm running Explosive Wellmaker, so multi-kills with our fusion grenades or our Witherhoard create elemental wells. On the gauntlets I'm using Seeking Wells, so all of our wells will come directly to us, which is helpful because we'll always be sitting in a rift if possible. On the chest piece I'm running Bountiful Wells. This basically allows us to make even more wells. On the boots I'm using Elemental Ordnance, so our grenades can now create elemental wells upon killing an enemy. And lastly, on the class item I'm running Classy Restoration for increased survivability, which is really good, and also Solar Fulmination, so my ignitions do increased damage and also have a bigger AoE. So Classy Restoration is an absolute must-have mod with this build. So basically activating your solar class ability grants you restoration, and if you don't know, restoration is basically a buff that gives you healing and can't be interrupted by taking damage. So whenever you go ahead and put down your empowering rift, you're basically putting down a healing rift simultaneously. So the nice thing about it is you're basically getting the best of both worlds with this mod. Solar Fulmination is also a must-have mod as well. This is stacking even more ignition and AoE damage with your Ember of Eruption fragment, so every time you throw your fusion grenade, you are applying an insane amount of ignition and applying it in a very big radius, which is absolutely huge. As far as stats to prioritize, you definitely want to cap out your recovery ASAP and then put the rest into discipline and intellect. And if you have any left over and you have a really cracked set of gear, you want to put the rest into resilience, because obviously our only source of survivability with this build is restoration. So basically having more damage res is always nice. And then as far as mobility and strength, those are pretty much useless to us, and you don't want to spec into those at all. Anyways, that is going to be a wrap on this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found it informational or helpful, and if this build looks appealing to you, I would recommend getting on it sooner than later, because honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Bungie actually goes ahead and nerfs it. And also, if you haven't grabbed your new Solar 3.0 fragments, make sure you go talk to Ikora Ray in the tower, and then you'll be all good to go. Again, thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace out and have a good one.